Hello. So until last lecture, we have completed the design of compression members, and from this session onwards, we'll be continuing that columns forward, and we'll be starting with our new chapter that is in the same module, that is our lacing, battening, and column basis. So what do you mean by lacing, what do you mean by battening, and what do you mean by column basis will be seen as the session goes onwards. And keep in mind this problem that is regarding a lacing or a column base is always asked in your examination. The lacing question can be for a 7 marker or a 14 marker that we'll be discussing today, and column bases are also asked frequently in your examination because this is an important module that is to be covered under the topic of our steel structures. So starting with our today's example, the question here is design a lacing system or design a single lacing system for a column composed of two ISMC 300 at 35.8 kg per meter. That means two channel sections have been prescribed, and we need to connect these two channel sections by providing a lacing, that is an inclined plate that is to be used in a zigzag way, is called a lacing. Placed back to back, that means the channel sections are provided back to back at a clear spacing of 200 mm. In the last session we discussed how to find the spacing, and here the spacing has been provided, and we'll be moving further on and we'll be designing the lacing systems that are to be used to connect these column sections. So the axial factor load on column is 1500 kilonewton, and the effective length of column is 5 meter. That has been asked in the question. So starting with our sum, first of all we will be discussing what do you mean by lacing, battening and bases. So lacing, as you can see here, this figure is a elevational view or the front view of your column section. These two rectangular portions that you can see is of your column. That means these are the channel sections that will be provided. So to connect these two channel sections, we have to provide compulsorily a rectangular plate in a zigzag manner. This rectangular plate provided in a zigzag manner is called lacing. Just we tie up our shoes with our laces. This is the same thing there, but here rectangular plates are being laced together to form or to tie a member or the column section to resist and to transfer the load equally. Clear? So if the lacing systems are provided only on one side, then it is called a single lacing, that is a single zigzag. Whereas if the lacings are provided simultaneously on both ends, that is on both faces of column, then it is called a double lacing system. Single lacing system and double lacing system. Now when to provide single lacing and when to provide double lacing, that will be seen further on in the numerical portion. And this you can see here is a combination of lacing and battening. So battening here means the plates or the horizontal plates that we have provided. For lacing systems, it is compulsory to provide a battened or you can say tie plate at the top portion and the bottom portion. That means at the starting portion of our column and at the finishing portion of our column, it is mandatory to provide a horizontal tie plate in this section, but only horizontal tie plates are provided in the entire column, then that is called a battened column. Clear? Where no lacings are being provided. And column bases will be the foundation of these cases. That means if we are providing a base, that is for obviously RCC material, so this base for the foundation or you can say to resist the column or to transfer the load of the column to the foundation, this base is to be provided, that will be discussing later on, or the design of slab base that will be discussing later on. Clear? So now starting with our sum, the case here is that we will be always assuming the angle of lacing to be 45 degrees. It will be never mentioned in our question that the theta value or the angle of the lacings will be given. So we will be always need to assume the angle of lacing and will be always assuming it to be 45. Why always to be assuming 45? Because by assuming value of 45, the horizontal distance and the vertical distance will be considering to be the same. Clear? For angle that is a 45 right angle. So after considering the value of 45, the next things will be to find the value from the IS code. Now keep in mind, as it is mentioned a 2 ISMC 300 section, for designing the laces, we need to compulsorily find the value of a single ISMC channel, that is a single channel as well as a double channel. We need to find the values for both the cases, as we'll be needing these terms in the verification and the checks that we'll be seeing later on. Clear? So first we will be moving on to check for single ISMC section. So single ISMC section, the values can be obtained from the steel table. Here you can see in the last section that it is mentioned for ISMC. From this we won't be requiring area because we are not designing the channel section. The channel section is already been designing. We are to design the lacings, yes? And lacings are the rectangular plates that are connected in a zigzag way. So here we will be requiring two quantities. The first quantity will be the minimum radius of gyration. So as you can see here, RZZ and RYY values are mentioned. So out of these two cases, the minimum radius of gyration is 26.1 mm. And the next thing that will be requiring is given in the next page, that is page number 17. It is in the continuation, the value of G star. Now if you remember the portion of our design of tension members, we used to calculate the value of our gauge. Clear? The gauge value will be calculating for our angle section, and for angle sections we will always assuming the gauge, that means the distance from our bolted connection to the top of the plate. We always assume it to the value that is 60% of total length. But this assumption that is 60% of total length is only for angle sections. This is not an angle section, this is a channel section. So for channel section, the value of gauge is already being prescribed, and it is prescribed in the form that is G star, that you can see in this column. So for ISMC 300, the value of gauge is given in the steel table as 50. So these two quantities will be requiring from our IS table for a single channel section. Now we'll be requiring the quantities or data for the double channel section. So for double channel sections, we will be moving on to 68 of your steel table. So moving on to page number 68, you can see here that ISMC 300 is been mentioned, and it is for two channels of same size, either laced or battened, and it is mentioned for columns. We are designing these two cases also. So here you can see we'll be requiring two cases. The first will be requiring is the radius of gyration RZZ, that is 118.1 mm, and the spacing is already given in the question. So for 200 spacing, the value of our RYY will be 126.3. So these two values will be requiring from the steel table regarding our double channel section. So after finding the values, or after finding this data from the steel table, now you can keep aside your steel table, there is no need of it. And now we'll be focusing on our sum. So the next thing we'll be finding is the lacing, or the spacing of lacing, that will be considering it to be L0. Now how this value came, for that we'll be referring a sketch or a figure. And as you can see here, these two are the elevational view of our channel section that can be seen from the top view or the sectional view, in as you can see here, and these are to be connected using lacings. So these zigzag plates are called lacings, and these zigzag plates are connected to the column sections via bolts. So these are the number of bolts that we'll be discussing. We need to find the number of bolts. Here I have mentioned one bolt, but at the end we need to always find that whether we'll be providing one number of bolt, two number of bolt, or three number of bolt in this case. Clear? So here the bolted connection will be used, and now we'll be finding the spacing of lacing. The spacing of lacing will be this horizontal spacing between the two our column sections will be the spacing of lacing. So for that we will be requiring this parameters, that is the spacing between the channels was 200, that is given in the question, and this distance from the edge of the plate to the bolt or to the center of the bolt is called as the gauge value. Similarly, this will also be the gauge value. So the two gauges will be 50 and 50 on the both sides. So after calculating total, the answer will be 600. Now why we had multiplied by 2? Because this portion, just as we saw in the frequency chart, if we talk about frequency, then the combination of crest and trough was called frequency. The same fundas are being applied here. If we start our lacing from this section, that is from left face, then we need to complete the portion to the left face. So this length that you have mentioned via line is called the spacing of lacing. Clear? So this one horizontal distance is 300 mm, and this coming back portion will be again 300 mm. So the total spacing will be considered to be 600 mm. Now clear? So moving further, we need to check certain parameters that the spacing we have provided is correct or not, and for that we'll be moving on to clause number 7.6.5 of your IS code. And here you can see that it is mentioned that the maximum spacing of lacing bar, whether connected by either bolting, welding, or riveting, shall also be such that the maximum slenderness ratio, that means KL by R, or components of the main members between the consecutive lacing connection is not greater than 50. So we always need to prove two cases. The first case is that for a member or for an individual column, clear? Not for two ISMC channels. For single ISMC channel, the value should be less than 50. So our spacing of lacing was 600 mm, that means our effective length in this case, and the radius of gyration, or the minimum radius of gyration for one ISMC was 26.1. And solving it, the answer comes out to be 22.98, and it should always be less than 50, which is here in this case, so it is satisfied. Now the second thing we need to see here is that or 0.7 times the most unfavorable slenderness ratio of the member as a whole. Member as a whole, that means two ISMC channel. Now we'll be talking about two ISMC channel. So for two ISMC channel, we need to find the value of KL by R, and for that we'll be considering the effective length to be this, that is given in the question. Effective length of column is considered 5 meter. So for whole section we'll be considering the KL value to be 500, and for member as a whole, that means two ISMC channel, we'll be taking the value of R minimum from two ISMC channel that we obtained from the steel table. So that value comes out to 42.34, and now from this clause again we need to check that this value that was for single channel should be less than this value, and this value is that 0.7 times the most unfavorable slenderness ratio of a member as whole. So for member as whole, the slenderness ratio was 42.34, but as the column is laced, we always need to multiply the slenderness ratio by 1.05. Keep in mind here. So we have multiplied this case, that is 42.34 is multiplied by 1.05, and again it is multiplied by 0.7 because it is mentioned 0.7 times. So it should be less than both these cases. It should be less than this 50 mm, and it should be less than this also. Okay. So this is valid in both the cases, and therefore single lacing is sufficient. If any of these two cases, again keep in mind, if any of the two cases fails, that means if the first value comes out to be greater than 50 or the second value comes out to be greater than 0.7 times the dimensions of the slenderness ratio, then we could have opted for a double lacing system. But here we'll be providing a single lacing system. So this is how you will identify whether to provide a single lacing system or a double lacing system. Now we'll be moving forward to the designing of our lacing skills, and for that we will be requiring three things. That means first we will be requiring the effective length of the lacing, second will be requiring the width of the lacing, and the third will be requiring the thickness of the lacing. So these three parameters will be pertaining to a lacing, or you can say the section or the rectangular section that will be providing. So for that, first we will be providing the effective length, and effective length will be always used by the Pythagoras theorem. For example, this angle we have always substituted to be theta, and we have already assumed theta to be 45. This was our horizontal distance, that was 300, and this was also 300. So this incline, that means the hypotenuse will be under root 300 square plus 300 square, clear, from the Pythagoras theorem. So that comes out to be 424.26 mm. So the effective length of lacing comes out to be 424.26 mm. So now we will be moving on to the next part, and that will be finding from our IS code, that from our clause number 7.6.2 and clause number 7.6.3. First we will be focusing on clause number 7.6.2. It represents the width of lacing bar. So we will be finding the width of lacing bar. It says that in bolted or riveted construction, the minimum width of lacing bar should be 3 times the nominal diameter of bolt. So the width of lacing should always be 3 times the nominal diameter of bolt. But here in the question, the bolt diameter won't be mentioned anywhere. So we will be always assuming it. We can either opt for 16 mm bolts or M16 bolts, or you can opt for M20 bolts. Here I have opted for M16 bolts. So as we have shown in the clause itself that B will be equal to 3D. So the value comes out to be 48 mm. So we'll be rounding it off to 50 mm. So the width of the lacing that we'll be providing is 50 mm. And the third property that we'll be finding is the thickness of lacing bar. And as you can see here, the thickness of flat lacing bar shall not be less than 1/40th of its effective length for single lacing and 1/60th of effective length for double lacing. So for single lacing and double lacing, both cases are being mentioned here. Here we are dealing with single lacings. So the equation will be 1/40th of the effective length for lacing. So our T comes out to be LE by 40. LE value will be this, that is we have found earlier. So the answer comes out to be 10.6. So the round off value that will be providing is 12 mm, and this will be the final size of lacing flat, that means a lacing rectangle portion. So the lacing flat will be providing of size 50 cross 12 mm. Clear? So this was the design of lacing. So now we'll be focusing on the radius of gyration. As we have seen earlier, the radius of gyration we obtained was for single channel and for double channel. But for our rectangular plates, that is our lacing bar, the radius of gyration is not being given in our IS code or not being given in a steel table. So we need to find it manually. And for that we'll be using this equation, that is R minimum equal to under root I by A. So first of all, we will be finding the moment of inertia. For a rectangular section, the moment of inertia is always BD cube by 12. So this was our B, this was our D, this is 12. Keep in mind, this is a printing mistake here. So the value comes out to be 7200 mm square, and the area of it comes out to be 600 mm square. Clear? So the minimum radius of gyration in this case comes out to be 3.464 mm. This is one thing. And the next thing will be an alternative method. And this equation is mentioned in our handbook, it is not mentioned in our IS code. So you need to remember this equation. If you not remember this equation, then you can solve using this case that we already know. Clear? Now keep in mind, this equation is only for a rectangular section. It is not applicable for either a channel section or a I section or an angle section. This equation is only applicable for a rectangular section. And as our lacings are rectangular in section, you can use this equation, that is R minimum will be equal to T by under root 12. And T value, that is thickness of lacing. Thickness of lacing was 12 mm. So the answer here comes out to be again the same value. So you can either opt for any of these cases. If you remember this in your examination, it is well and good. Otherwise, you can directly use the equation, that is radius of gyration equal to under root I by A. Now the next step will be to find or to check the parameters. Now for checking the parameters, it is mentioned in our IS code from clause number 7.6.6.3. It is said that the slenderness ratio, that is KL by R, of lacing bars shall not exceed 145. So we always need to prove that the slenderness ratio for the lacing bars will be less than 145. So in this case, the lacing bar, that is our section that we have just obtained, this was the effective length, and this is the radius of gyration that we just obtained, and the value comes out to be 122.47. So the section that we have opted for is correct up till now. You need to check provide these checks in continuous order so that you can verify whether you are going smoothly and you are following the proper procedures or not. Clear? So now we'll be focusing on the next parameters, that is for the section. So now we'll be identifying the buckling class in this case, and as you can see here that for double channel section, that means some built up section. For built up section, the buckling class was C, but here we are dealing with a rectangular section. So rectangular section also can be seen here, that for rectangular section again the buckling class will be considered to be C. Clear? So for rectangular section the buckling class will be C. So now we'll be getting the values for FCD for this term, that is KL by R comes out to be 122.47. So from table number 9C we'll be calculating the value of FCD, that comes out to be 81.38, and we will be calculating then the value of PD. This is not the total load, this is the load acting or the load resisting by the lacing systems or the lace bars. Clear? So the compressive strength of lacing comes out to be 48.38 kN. Now the half of the sum is completed. We will be moving on to the next portion, that is to design the lace. And here you can see here that 7.6.6 it is mentioned design of lacings, and in that it is said that the lacing shall be proportioned to resist a total transverse shear as the lacing bars are inclined. Till now we have dealt with the portion or the members that were either horizontal or either vertical. Now we are dealing with something that is inclined. So for inclined portion, both the forces will be acting upon. That means the horizontal forces will also be acting upon and the vertical forces will always be acting upon. Clear? So now for this case we will be finding the transverse shear, that is called VT, and it is mentioned that VT should always be equal to 2.5% of axial force of member. So the axial force of member, that means the load that is given in the question. So 2.5% of the 1500 comes out to be 37.5 kN, for both the sides of column. Clear? So for 2 ISMC section, the total that will be resisted, or the total transverse shear, comes out to be 37.5 kilonewton. So now we'll be finding the value of axial force in lacing. This equation is to be remembered by you, is not given in our IS code. So the axial load in lacing will be equal to Vt upon 2 sine theta. Vt we have just obtained, and theta we have assumed it to be 45. So the answer comes out to be 26.52. Clear? So the PD, so the load resisted by the lacing that we just obtained in the previous slide, should always be greater than this value. Clear? So here it is proved that the 48.83 kilonewton is greater than 26.52 kilonewton. So the first check is completed. So now we will be moving towards the check for tensile strength. So to check for tensile strength, we always will be opting for two values, that is TDN and TDG. Here block shear won't be applicable. We will be always discussing two things. And for TDN, we always knew the equation from page number 33 was 0.9 AN/FU upon gamma m. So this is the portion AN that means net area. So net area will be deducting the whole. Clear? So here in this case, the width of lacing was 50 and we have provided bolts of 16. So if the bolts are of 16, then the hole will be of 18. Clear? So this will be our effective length multiplied by thickness of lacing. This gives us the net area. So here the TDN value comes out to be 113.35. So now we'll be finding the value of TDG. TDG will be the strength due to the yielding of gross section. So the equation for that will be AgFu by gamma m0. So the answer in this case comes out to be 136.36. So now out of these two cases, that is TDN and TDG, we always are opting for the smaller value, that comes out to be TD. So TD in this case comes out to be 113.35 and it should be greater than the load that we have just found out. Clear? That was for one axial member. So this load is greater than this. So hence the flat lacing or the lacing flat is safe in tension. Now it is safe in tension. So next thing will be to find the number of bolts, and to find the number of bolts we always find the value, that is bolt value, and for bolt value we always find two cases, that is our shear value and the bearing value. So the shear value here, we won't be solving the equation for VDSB. We will be always assuming this data, that is for M16 bolts and for 4.6 grade bolts, we will be always assuming that the shear will be 29 for a single shear. And as we are dealing with two ISMC channels, that will be double shear here. So the final value of our shear capacity will be 58 kilonewton, and the bearing capacity can be obtained from the same equation that we used earlier, 2.5 kb dtfu upon gamma mb. Here that is no need to find the value of kb. We will be direct assuming the value of kb to be 1, and here the answer comes out to be 157.44. So out of these two cases, the smaller value is our bolt value. So bolt value here comes out to be 58 kilonewton. So after finding the bolt value, the next thing will be to provide bolts, and for that we'll be finding the resultant force on bolt. And resultant force on bolt, again this equation is not mentioned in your IS code, so again you need to remember this equation. The equation for resultant force is R equal to 2F cos theta. So the number of bolts required will be 2F cos theta divided by bolt value. So 2F will be our axial force in a member, theta we have considered to be 45, and bolt value we have just found out to be 58. So the total number of bolts comes out to be 0.6. So we will be providing one bolt on each end. Clear? So at each end we will be providing one bolt to resist the lacing bar. And the final thing will be to design the tie plate. Clear? As we have discussed earlier, that for providing a lacing, the portion of starting and the portion of completion should always carry a horizontal plate, that is called a tie plate. So the final step will be to design this tie plate, and to design this tie plate we will be moving on to clause 7.7.2.3. As you can see here in the figure itself, we will be designing the tie plate. Here you can see here it is mentioned that the intermediate batten shall have an effective depth of not less than 3/4 of distance, but in no case shall the effective depth be twice the width of one member. Clear? So as you can see here, twice the width of one member, that means 2 into BF. So we need to first find the effective depth, that will be equal to spacing plus 2 into CYY. That means this value. This will be our spacing of our column sections, and this the value of CG will be somewhere around here, and for this channel the value of CG will be somewhere around here. As we all know that forces are acting only at the CG of the section. So this distance, that the distance between two center of gravities, will be the spacing plus center of gravity along the left face and center of gravity along y face. So the equation comes out spacing plus 2 into CYY, and it should always be greater than, as you can see here, it should be greater than twice the width of member. That means 2 into BF. So here we can see that 247.2 is the answer, and it is greater than 180 mm. So the effective depth is satisfied. Now we'll be moving to the overall depth. So overall depth will be this distance, and we will be adding edge distance on both sides. Clear? So the edge distance, as we have seen in the voltage chapter, that for M16 bolts the value of E can be obtained from 1.7 D0 or DH. Clear? So after finding the value, the edge distance we are taking to be 30 mm. You can assume any value of it, but here we have assumed the edge distance to be 30 mm, and so the final answer or the overall depth here comes out to be 307.2. So rounding it off, the value comes out is 310 mm. So the effective depth is completed. The next will be the length of tie plate, and the length of tie plate here, as you can see in the figure itself, that the tie plate is provided from the starting of section to the ending of the section. That is between the two ISMC channels. It is provided throughout. So the total, this distance will be the length of our tie plate. This section, that is our spacing, it is 200 mm, and this will be our width of flange. So width of flange, as we have seen from the steel table, comes out to be 90. So the total length of plate will be spacing plus 2 into BF. So the answer in this case comes out to be 380 mm. And the last thing will be the required thickness of tie plate. And thickness of tie plate can be seen from this equation that is provided in our clause. It says that the thickness of batten or tie plate shall be not less than 1/50th of the distance between the innermost connection of rivets. Clear? So it will be 1/50th of innermost connection of rivets. Innermost connection of rivet, here we have provided bolts, so it will be distances between bolt to bolt. As we have seen, the bolt value or the distance from bolt to the end or to the plate was our gauge distance. So here the bolts will be always provided at the gauge distance, and here it was the spacing. So the value comes out to be spacing plus 2 into gauge distance. The gauge distance we have seen from the steel table was 50. So the answer here comes out to be 6 mm. So the final size will be that we will be providing a tie plate of length 380 mm. Its overall depth will be 310 mm, and the thickness will be 6 mm at both ends. Both ends mean at top end and bottom end, and in between we will be providing our lacings. Clear? So this was our design of lacing. For double lacing also the same thing will be providing, but the criteria that we saw will be somewhat different here. So this is our today's exercise problem for single lacing. Do solve it, and we'll be seeing column basis in the next session. Thank you.